Hey everybody, I'm so glad to meet the management fraternity of this country and several of my friends, colleagues may be listening to me from other countries too, like Ghana, like Abu Dhabi, like Dubai, like USA. I would like to dwell upon the present pandemic, why it is so dangerous, but why we can be comfortable enough by keeping certain things in our control. Let us go through what is happening around. Please see these videos.
Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was in Tel Aviv in 2006 and he was reading the Israeli newspaper. It was the day after a lot of attacks and bombardments and deaths had taken place. The Hamas had struck, but the front page of the newspaper had the picture of a Jewish gentleman who in 5 years had transformed his desert into an orchid and a granary. It was this inspiring picture that everyone woke up. The gory details of killings, bombardments, deaths were inside in the newspaper, buried among other news. In India, we only read about death, sickness, terrorism, crime. Why are we so negative?
India continues to see a surge in coronavirus cases linked to the Nizamuddin Markaz. On Monday, fresh cases were reported.
Workers were there, all people who were chased by this mob. At least 4 of them have been identified. They have been arrested as well. Will there be more arrests possibly?
Our media, print media, visual media, WhatsApp, whatever it is giving a negative picture of what is happening around the world in general and in India in particular. As far as our country is concerned, we are in the safe hands, and Honorable Prime Minister Modi and our chief ministers of both the Telugu states are taking enough care, like it is shown in the picture just now, in the videos just now. Not all Markaz people are responsible for spread of COVID. Not every migrant worker is being killed on the tracks. Not every COVID warriors are attacked by people. Not everybody is violating the lockdown. Everything negative is shown. Nothing positive is shown. As a matter of fact, the COVID-19 is very much contained in India compared to other countries, especially the developed countries like USA, Italy, and Spain. We are very much in control. Only day before yesterday, my friend Dr. Srinivasulu Reddy, who is known as Cheese King, very famous in USA, he said, and I quote, "Our Indian food, Indian systems, Indian culinary art is very much comfortable to resist the COVID onslaught. We are inbuilt immunity. Apart from that, our cultural ethos, our traditions like namaste, like cleaning the hands and cleaning the feet before you enter the home, all these things are inbuilt or in our cultural ethos. So we need not worry much about this as it is shown on the media. And more than anything, the pandemic made us confined to our homes. Just because the coronavirus is such that it is not as dreadful as Spain flu, but at the same time, it is very simple. If you maintain safe distancing and clean your hands and wear a mask, you will be definitely be avoiding the onslaught of the pandemic. our own approach is how we are not able to do it, especially youngsters, why they are feeling bad about it. Think of our Veer Savarkar, who spent years in Kalapani. Think of our own people, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and other freedom fighters who have been confined to jails for several years. Like this, they have taken the thing in positive and they are confined. You cannot imagine how Kalapani looks like. And we are in the comfort of our own homes. And kindly see one more video wherein Sunita Williams has stayed more than 127 days in that space capsule.
So here's one sleep station right here. I'm going in right now. You can follow me if you want. So I'm inside. It's sort of like a little phone booth, but it's pretty comfy. I've got a sleeping bag right here that we sleep in, so we don't have sort of like a little bit of a cover. We don't fly all over the place. But you know, you can sleep in any orientation. I have it sleeping, feeling like I'm standing up right now, but like you saw, I'm on the floor. But it doesn't matter if I turn over and I sleep upside down. I can't have it. I don't have any sensation in my head that tells me that I'm upside down, so it really doesn't matter. The sleep station is also like a little office. We've got a computer in here. As you can see, we've got a couple little toys. I've got some books. I've got some clothes and other things that make it sort of like home.
Just imagine our position with Sunita Williams. So many days in a congested place like that, about 400 odd miles away from the earth, and for so many days, so confined, so congested. Let us learn lessons from this. And at the same time, your confinement to home, you can make positive out of it. You can learn a new skill. You can learn the kind of how to build your health, build your physique, and how to build your emotional strength, and how to meditate. As I normally abhor mobile phone. If my students are attending this program, they will wonder what this man is doing. Normally, we don't allow mobile phone, especially on Saturdays, but during this, there is no other go except mobile phone and laptop. So they came handy. Like that, it happens, you know. Some things are not avoidable, some things are avoidable. I myself am using iPhone and laptop and PC very much. So don't bother about these things. When the things are changing, you've got to change your approach to life, whereby you can make positive things out of the negative things, prosperity out of adversity. That is my approach. And let us not fear about Corona COVID. Actually, we should be very careful about it. That doesn't mean that we need to be fearful. After all, fear of death is more dangerous than death itself. So let us not fear about it. Let us not go by the naysayers that it is going to kill millions of people, especially with Narendra Modi ji at helm. Hopefully this will end in another couple of months. We'll go back to the normality. 50 years of teaching experience and 25 years as edupreneur are no great achievements. Actually, somebody said sarcastically about teaching, if you can, you do. If you can't, you teach. And to go further, if you can teach, you teach teachers. Bratakaleka Badipantulu Annatuga. I never opted for teaching, but it happened to me. The moment it happened, I started liking it. The more I liked, the more I got into the groove of teaching, and teaching has become second nature to me. And this 50 years of experience, it doesn't make any difference. Maybe a person who has done a couple of years ago, and he's able to teach well. This this time of 50 years will not count actually. Sinan Reddy garu annattuga rasi kaado ee vasi kavalani. The quality is important, not the quantity of time I spent in teaching. And one thing I have been lucky, though I did my schooling 10+2 in Telugu medium, I was always keen on learning other languages, especially English. That came very handy in my undergraduation as well as post-graduation. And immediately I joined JNTU as a teacher, little proficient in English. I was very comfortable because facing the Jubilee Hills, in those days, Banjara Hills clan, or like modern kind of students, or well-bred students, or elite class of students. They all speak always chaste English. And had I not been into English proficiency, I would have failed. I have seen many of my colleagues who are very good in fundamentals of their subjects, in basics, compared to me, far superior. They have failed as teachers. For a teacher, you have got to be proficient in the medium of instruction. Medium of instruction is naturally English, and you have got to be, and that came handy to me, and I am lucky that way. And the more you teach in English, more you earn. As somebody beautifully said, అనగననగా రాగమతి చెల్లుచునుండు తినగ తినగ వేము తీయనగును సాధనమున పనులు సమకూరు ధరలోన వినరవైభ. అది సాధనం చేస్తుంటే వచ్చేస్తుందండి ఎవరికైనా అంతే. ఆఫ్టర్ ఆల్, what is language of English language is a very simple language. For example, 56 alphabet in Telugu, many people, even Telugu medium people, don't know. That is a tragedy. And definitely English is easy to learn, easy to speak. The problem with our students is, especially this Andhra and Telangana students, they have got fear psychosis for this language. Unless they go to the dais, unless they converse with people, they will not be able to come out. And this has become a great drawback, especially those coming from the rural Andhra, rural Telangana. They can never speak. They are good at subject, but they can never crack a interview. Unless you are good at English, you cannot score a point in, even the top scorers I have seen, they are not good in English, they fail, make a mark. So these are the little things that we should be careful. But as a teacher, I always believed in the maxim, I am lucky to be in this profession, I am enjoying it, but at the same time, after 25 years of unsung and unwept service, I'm sorry, I'm saying about JNTU, this is a sarcastic comment, maybe negative comment, but I have got to tell that for 25 years I served without any reservation. I never missed a single class. I never betrayed my students. I never failed any single student. I have paid the fee of the poor students. I fought for particular example I am giving. I made 16 applications to the university to make a special restroom for girls. I have miserably failed. And as far as educational reforms are concerned, the subjects that are required by the corporate are concerned, if you make an application to the academic council, by the time it is approved, it is taking 2 years. By then, the subject I have proposed to be introduced in MBA curriculum or management curriculum is getting obsolete. So all these things made me kind of disenchanted with my kind of service at JNTU, and I resigned about 8 years before my superannuation, and I established this college. And when I established this college, not that I am a moneyed fellow, I have sold all my ancestral property, I have built it, and luckily for me as a teacher, whatever goodwill I have earned, that brought me so many students year after year to join Dhruva, and Dhruva is doing so well, and I am happy that I have got wonderful colleagues, who are able to teach so well with comparatively low pay scales. And my students are also very much disciplined. As far as our culture is concerned, we go by 4 Ds: diligence, dignity, dhyana, and dharma. These are the 4 cardinal principles which are sustaining our Dhruva. And if anybody, any corporate leader, any industry, any organization, they can easily recognize Dhruva product. They are always disciplined. They don't mind about working extra times, and they don't indulge in nonsense. And as far as the ethos are concerned, they go by the traditional approach. And that is the reason, of course, there is what is known as a Dhruva Forum, Access Hyderabad Indian Management Systems Academy, which we are trying to bring in, or usher in Indian management wisdom, which is very much there, very much deeper, like in Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bhagavatam, and Chanakya Niti, and so many other things. We have such a rich culture and motivation. Nothing beats our Bhagavad Gita. And what is Abraham Maslow say? He always looks out for satiation of the desires. I'm just giving an example. Please bear with me. Abraham Maslow takes the hierarchy of needs, and they're always outward looking. And somebody beautifully said, with all my desires, I accumulated the material things, and with all the material things, I languish in desires. And desires can never be satiated. And more so, they are not hierarchical. IIM Ahmedabad has done a research, they are not hierarchical at all. They are circulatory. And you can never satisfy the desires. But as far as Indian lore is concerned, Indian ethos are concerned, we have our own approach to satiation. That is Vipashyanti. Even Mahatma Buddha approached Vipashyanti, looking inwards. That is akin to Panchakosha. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Ananda is, after all, the self-actualization of Maslow is a pale synonym of Anandamaya, Ananda. Ananda is eternal. Ananda is deep within yourself. That is how we always tell, Tat Swamati, we are not this mind-body complex. We are whatever we are, that God is within me and God is within others. That's how we believe in Vasudhaika Kutumbakam, and we always believe in this helping others, giving to others. Same thing is practiced by our government of India in helping a country like USA. So we always look forward to this, and probably in coming decades, we'll see Swarna Bharat if this approach of governance continues. Let me recite a small poem I've written. Many of our audience may be Telugu knowing. Others, please bear with me. Corona vaddu, lockout muddu, shake hand vaddu, namaste muddu, muddulu vaddu, haddulu muddu, తగ్గించు టీవీ ధ్యానంతోనే టీవీ, స్కర్ట్ జీన్స్ వద్దు, లంగా ఓని ముద్దు, ఆవలింత వద్దు, కొంగు అడ్డం ముద్దు, తిరుమల వద్దు, మన పూజ గది మాత్రమే ముద్దు, మస్జిద్ వద్దు, జకత్ ముద్దు, దగ్గు తుమ్ము ఓకే మగర్ జరా సరక్కే, దోస్తానా ఓకే కహీ దికే తో హట్కే, ఆలింగనం వద్దు, 6 అడుగుల దూరం ముద్దు, గబ్బిలపు అన్నం వద్దు, మన పప్పన్నం ముద్దు, మల్టీప్లెక్స్ వద్దు, నెట్ఫ్లిక్స్ ముద్దు, వెబినార్లు ముద్దు, సెమినార్లు వద్దు. And with this, I take you to the question you have raised. It is inescapable. The online teaching that we are adopting, there is no other go. Like somebody beautifully said, the inventory is a necessary evil. Actually, just-in-time approach to manufacturing is the best. Inventory is a necessary evil. The same way, the online teaching, however good or bad, I am not here to kind of debate on that, but it is the only available thing that we can approach the students, approach the teaching learning process, or what you call reach our students. Several key benefits are there on learning virtually. There is increased flexibility, less costly. Of course, there is no ragging, there is no affairs, and there is flexi time, anytime, anywhere, and you can learn at your own pace and speed, break the geographical barriers. You can learn practical, technical skills because you are bound to use technology in understanding the things online. And this tech savvy, while you are forced to learn this, may be helpful tomorrow while you are applying for a job. It increases your employability skills. And like that, there are so many advantages. But again, as a traditional teacher, as a person of 76 years going on to 77, I believe in tradition, I believe in simplicity. I believe in on-campus teaching only, offline teaching only. Maybe people don't agree. Once it comes to normality, we should get back to on-campus teaching. The advantage of on-campus teaching I'm going to narrate. We will be more organized, there will be more discipline, and we can introduce industry-specific subjects, and there will be eye contact, please. Very important, there is eye contact. Whereas in online teaching, you see the students as dots on the screen. Here you can see the wonderful students. The students, I teach my students as my children. I can look into these eyes. They can look others also in a wonderful way. And more than anything, there is Guru Shishya bonding. There is no bonding there in online teaching. And there is more than anything real-time feel. If you permit me to say, I will tell you, online teaching versus on-campus teaching, like online chatting versus real-time dating. It enriches the teacher. It enriches a teacher if you can really be interested in deeper understanding of the nuance of the teaching, and it gives you cumulative experience, and it gives you limitless opportunities to bond with the students and their excitements and their boredoms. All these things are quite beneficial in on-campus teaching. And Zooming online is a medium we are now ensconced with, but not a teaching learning process perpetually. Etiquette of classroom teaching instills qualities like determination, focus, bonhomie, networking, peer interaction, intercultural communication, skills, debating, public speaking. All these things are possible in on-campus teaching, not in online teaching. More valuable than all the things said, the curriculum-driven skills and easy for evaluation on-campus teaching, and no scope for lethargy, no scope for bypassing the instruction. And more than anything, it is natural. It is natural. And I'll give an example how it is natural. I'll cite an example where in a Gurukul system, the prince, the son of the reigning king, was sent to Gurukul to learn at the hands of the Guru. In the Gurukul scenario, the student, however big or small, Raja and Rank, will go and stay with the Guru. He was with the Guru, and Guru asked the Shishya, that the prince, go into the woods, into the forest, and come back after 1 year and tell me what did you hear. He comes back and reports to the teacher, sir, I could hear the cuckoos sing, birds chirp, water guzzle, leaves rustle. All these things I could hear. Then teacher tells another one sentence. My dear son, go back deeper into the forest. This time you stay more and come back and tell me what did you hear. This time the prince goes back into the woods or forest and comes back and reports. Now teacher asks, what did you hear this time? Please listen to me, Narayana Reddy Garu, carefully. The student reports, sir, this time I could hear and heard. I could hear the sound of sun warming the earth, sound of the sun warming the earth, sound of flowers opening, sound of the the grass drinking the morning dew. How can it happen in online teaching? Unless you are near the nature, unless you are part of the system, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you cannot have this kind of feel. And then teacher is so happy. Now that you are able to hear the unheard, you can be a better leader, better manager, better king, because you can hear the difficulties unspoken of, complexities unheard of, and you can feel the nerve of the population, your praja, and you can be a great leader, great manager, great king. That's how I am a votary of teaching on campus and Guru Shishya Sambandha. Beautiful question, sir. Many people ask me, actually the reverse question. They ask me whether on-campus teaching will come back or we are going to be stuffed with online teaching perpetually. And again, I am reminded of an anecdote. It happened in 1944-45 when Churchill was the Prime Minister of England. And around 2 o'clock in the morning, he was tensed up and he was walking, strolling in the corridor, the heavy person with a cigar in his mouth. And the town's clerk, a blonde, pretty girl, and she acquired courage and said, sire. He didn't listen to her. Next time she said, sire. Churchill never bothered. This time she made it as loud as possible, sire. Oh, he turned around and said, oh, young lady, you got anything to say? Yes, sire. Now she asks Churchill, what is bothering you, sir? And Churchill tells very interesting statement. I am bothered about this country. Ravi Astaminchani Samrajyam. After I am gone, of course we are winning this Second World War, but after I am gone, what is going to happen to this great country? You know, the clerk, the blonde little girl tells very, very deeper statement she makes. Sir, please forgive me if I make this statement. Prime ministers come, prime ministers go, but this town's clerk will remain same. The pandemics come, pandemics go. Online teaching comes, online teaching goes. But on-campus teaching will remain. Guru's importance will be there, and the teacher will be respected, and no education will be complete with the teacher's physical involvement and mental involvement, emotional involvement, spiritual involvement, and teacher is going to be there.